So I am here today with Anna Brown, Director of Research and Analysis at Citizens Count. And this is Jackie from Alnoba. And we are here today to talk about leadership in a very interesting moment in our history. Anna, can you tell us a little bit about Citizens Count and what your organization's mission and vision are?
Absolutely. Citizens Count is a nonpartisan nonprofit dedicated to providing unbiased information about issues and candidates in New Hampshire. During the election season, that means that we profile roughly 900 candidates from state representative all the way up to US president for Granite Staters, so they have that unbiased information in the voting booth.
So we are coming up on a very interesting time for Citizens Count. It is election season, which is a very demanding time for your organization. And as a nonprofit, you face all of the sorts of challenges that nonprofits face with working with limited resources and working in a sphere where you know everything you do has this huge impact on people's lives and how they're able to cast their vote. And we are also in an environment where we are seeing just crazy levels of partisanship in this country. And you are a strictly nonpartisan organization. So as the leader of this organization right now, you know, how has the environment that you're working in at the moment, the middle of a pandemic and this crazy rise in partisanship and distrust of information around politics, how has this challenged you guys?
Well, as you noted, there's always a challenge on resources because we are just 3 full-time staff with some part-time and contract help compared to, like I said, roughly 900 candidates. But for us, that is not a new challenge. That's not something that's come about recently. We've always been that small and plucky group. And we've also always had a mostly remote work environment. So the pandemic has been challenging, but we've looked at it as an opportunity to really shine in what we're already doing. People are looking for this information online more than ever. And candidates as well are looking for more ways to communicate with voters online since they can't show up to old home day parades and state fairs and things like that. So interestingly enough, we've actually seen more people coming to our website, more candidates reaching out to us because we can be that channel for them. So it's a challenge, but it's also an inspiration because we know that the work we're doing can really make a difference right now. So rather than focusing on those negatives and those challenges, we're trying to focus on this is our moment to really make a change.
And can you tell me a little more about what you have been doing as a leader in this time to bring that your organization through stronger, to use this as an opportunity for growth and to move the organization forward?
One of the most important things I feel as a nonprofit to do is to reach out to other organizations that are working in the same sphere and partner together to magnify each other's voices. And one of the great opportunities we've had this year is to work with the Granite State News Collaborative, which is a collective of about a dozen local New Hampshire news media. So everyone from NHPR to NHBR, Seacoast Media Group, Monarch Ledger Transcript. And so they have all been working during the coronavirus pandemic to be sharing coverage about that issue and also about the issue of race and policing in New Hampshire. So I reached out to them and said, hey, news staff is just as challenged as we are right now trying to get that information out to the public. How about we share resources on surveying candidates? Because many local newspapers also survey their candidates. So if they can use our survey, that's a way for us to reach voters in print as opposed to just online. And then also it saves them resources so they don't have to go chasing after candidates as much with their own individual surveys. So that way we were reducing duplicative efforts, magnifying our voice as an organization for nonpartisan information, while also helping local news organizations survive in this time when we need local news coverage. We need this news media to cover what's happening in the State House.
That's fantastic advice about leveraging strength in your community, finding those partner organizations that can really help to magnify your impact and figuring out those places where you can create efficiencies and help each other emerge stronger. So bigger question here, Anna, but as someone who has been working in the sphere of politics and policy from this nonpartisan point of view and leading through this situation where, again, we see this rising partisanship all over the country. What do you feel like we need right now from our leaders, from our nonprofit leaders, from our political leaders to help make this country stronger and do some healing here to try to bring us together?
The first thing that I think is so important is focusing on solutions rather than problems. And I know that there's a lot of focus on Facebook and in the news of saying, here's what's going wrong right now, whether it's the disproportionate killing of Black Americans by police or the coronavirus. So maybe what's going wrong is that actually you think the country shouldn't be shutting down, that we're killing our economy. No matter what side of any issue you're on, there's this focus on problems. And I think we need to move forward by focusing on solutions. Rather than saying everything's on fire and just screaming about it, we can say, this is an idea I have to move forward to make New Hampshire better. I do see that in a lot of state candidates as well. So I think another thing that will help is focusing on New Hampshire in New Hampshire, or the state that you're in. New Hampshire is always my favorite example because that citizens counts focus. It's where I'm most familiar. And it is true that we have incredible access to our elected officials in New Hampshire. It's a citizen legislature. They only get paid $200 a session plus mileage. So they're basically volunteers. And the people that show up are there because they are wildly passionate about it. So I always encourage people to reach out and focus on those unique New Hampshire issues and making that local difference, whether it's a student from the Seacoast who got schools to offer free period products to students, or if you're looking at Governor Sununu, who's trying his own hand at a version of paid family and medical leave, whether you're for it or against it. These are unique New Hampshire policy ideas that can make a difference close to your home, whereas these big national problems, don't let them overwhelm you. Start in your state.
That is awesome advice, Anna. This has been so lovely to talk to you. Do you have any other thoughts or advice that you would give to other leaders or emerging leaders about facing crisis and coming through stronger than you went in?
I would say, don't be afraid of a challenge. There's that a little bit of a cliche saying that, you know, pressure is what turns coal into diamonds. And so I don't want to just sprinkle diamonds at you and say, it's all going to be okay. But I think it is true that when things are really easy, we aren't pushed to think outside the box and make change and evolve. And it is those challenges, whether it's illness or an outside threat, whatever, that has forced evolution all through time. So I would say, well, it's intimidating and it can be stressful. Seize this opportunity and don't be afraid of it, because if you're afraid, it's only going to hurt you. You can really turn this into something super memorable and awesome.
Thank you so much, Anna. This has been a wonderful conversation, and I think our Alnoba friends will get a lot of value out of it.
Always a pleasure, Jackie. Thanks for having me.